Welcome back to another uh, Friday Night Smackdown review. Oh, God. Okay. It all started with a moment of bliss segment involving the NWO that was notified. Even though they were the first ones to be inducted, they took until now to have their interview when they were the first people inducted. Not Batista, a guy that was notable to be on Smackdown. Not the Bella, they were the Bella Twins. And recently, the former longest time WWE champion, JBL, a guy that made himself came from a tag team guy into a main eventer on SmackDown quickly as hell since the start of the brand split. You're telling me now that none of those guys you would bring but the NWO just to spike a bit of ratings and Nikki Cross to bring a cringe factor into selfie? It was too sweet. It's not the first time we did a corny too sweet joke since the go home show before Super Showdown when Hulk Hogan was getting interviewed by Bray Wyatt. And he was just like, too sweet, but it was a bit of a gag and it worked with his character where he's supposed to be corny. Nikki Cross is like a foreigner that sort of knows WWE and should know that there's more members than just Kevin Nash got Hall 6 and somehow Hulk Hogan that couldn't make an appearance because it's Hulk Hogan. He's technically bigger than anything else WWE was a part of. I didn't even know Vince McMahon wasn't even into the whole faction thing that, made his business more successful in the first place. Seriously, WWE's dumb. WWE, all parts of it is dumb. So is this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view after going to a different country for a pay-per-view. So this is all retarded to me. And to Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura, we don't even know what the hell their group is called, except Sami Zayn changes lives, I guess. Even though Cesaro has more potential than Shinsuke Nakamura does, thinks he has longer times, he knows nearly everybody in the roster, and he's obviously a better wrestler. So I don't understand. It ended up with Kevin Nash making the biggest chuckle in the best part of SmackDown, calling him Seth Rogen. And just towering almost everybody else in the ring because literally Kevin Nash is like 7'1". He's obviously got to tower over everybody. Six Pac was like, "Let's go, dude," because he was in referenced as the Intercontinental Champion, even though all you guys are like over 50. Sit the fuck down. These guys are gonna beat the shit out of you. So it was just a cringe, basic thing that I knew Brunstrom was gonna come because obviously they're not gonna rack up heat on Hall of Famers. Obviously, they don't do that type of shit. It was like, let the past be the past. These guys are Hall of Famers. Yeah, WWE, we are losing money. And Braun Strowman just came out of nowhere, tossed everybody out the ring after a big boot from Cesaro tossed him to the stage. Nakamura was taken down, and then immediately Sami Zayn ran off after using Alexa Bliss as a human shield. That was technically the entire segment. Sick of these over 10-minute segments. They could have had a backstage segment. Oh, right, they don't have authority figures anymore. Or something to actually give the show meaning. So it just ended up with Sami Zayn just showing that it's going to be a 3-on-1 handicap match for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if they're doing like basic rules like Nakamura wins back the Intercontinental Championship if any of them pin him. Then we had a basic match that was a tag team match, obviously to bring some momentum off for Sasha Banks because she was out with an injury. And it was win off a double knee takedown off the corner, off a distraction from Bayley. There was a couple moves. A split leg was moved out the way. An inverted backstabber from the ropes, or I'm referencing something from NXT. The match wasn't even that decent. Lacey Evans was like taken out for most of the matchup, like any other tag team match, because she's not that good in general. So it was just a basic heelish momentum thing because we technically don't know. The people have been trying to build up over the rumors and most of the dirt sheet that in the AWC and the smart marks in general, they're doing a babyface turn with Sasha Banks because we haven't seen Bayley and Sasha Banks fight before, but different roles that Bailey's a heel now, and Sasha Banks is a babyface. Even though it's still four horsewomen wrestling, don't you guys get the point that they don't know what the fuck to do with the rest of the women's roster? We had a women's tag team title match for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view the last year, and that went nowhere. The titles were only defended a handful of times on Raw or SmackDown or otherwise at pay-per-view. Rarely on pay-per-view. And since turning Bailey heel, this has done nothing but elevate the title even more. That nobody remembers the past couple times that the title even been on the line other than that clever little finish it did on a Super Showdown involving the T-shirt. Her forgettable feud with Lacey Evans that somehow had Lacey Evans turning heel after having an outdated feminist gimmick that's supposed to treat women how to be like classy women, and all this crap, and over an entire year of doing this shtick, and we think we're about to have like an old-fashioned Charlotte Flair. And she even referenced it on the interview, and people thought it was such a good thing to develop a character. No one gives a fuck about Lacey Evans saying she's not that enticing ever. That's not me ragging on the bitch. That really it. And then we have Bailey dabbing up Sasha Banks like, I'm about to have you on my mixtape. And he was like, that's cool, bro. What's good? Oh my god. She has hair like a black aunt or a white or an Italian aunt coming around dabbing up Sasha Banks like they're best buds in high school. And she's holding the women's title. Like, it's corny, it's so crap. It felt so cringe. This episode of SmackDown was just terrible. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could be more optimistic. They continue to try to tease up that probably Chad Gable will be, or I'm sorry, Shorty G. Look, we'll try to tease a tag team with Apollo Crews or something. After, I think I heard, I forgot what Sheamus' old theme song, something written. It ended in so short a time, just a springboard cross body, a bit of a plancha. He took a pro kick in the face and it ended in like under 7 minutes. It was such a quick match. It didn't even tell much of a story. Shorty G didn't come out later to like do anything to impact why he should be associating with him or anything. All it did was just show that Sheamus is beating up some jobbers, and he's hyped up everything. He hyped up trying to change the roster. He hyped up maybe resurging his character, because for majority of his time in the roster, I mean, he accomplished a lot of stuff before tagging with Cesaro, but he hasn't been having that legitimate of main event feel. So the time when I thought, okay, great, you bring back this old Celtic Warrior gimmick, you can be beating the crap out of everybody. Just Apollo Crews and Shorty G. And they're just developing something off them losing. That's not how it fucking works. You could have done this so many other wrestlers. Steve Slater could have got a win or something. Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan, so many other guys in the roster. And Sheamus just jobs out the same type of guys. What kind of momentum is that building up? What story is that building up? And WWE doesn't know how to do that. So I'm just concerned. And Sheamus is just flexing, and he's the one hyping up the Elimination Chamber. What is he doing in the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view? Since hyping that up like a week ago. Nothing! Except noticing that the Elimination Chamber exists as a pay-per-view on the schedule from a week from another pay-per-view from Saudi fucking Arabia. That we usually do the pay-per-view in Australia. So this was all types of dumb. I don't know where Ali is. He's probably nursing an injury. I don't know if Nia Jax is coming to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy might be coming back to SmackDown because he's coming back from an injury. It's just crap. It's really crap. And I didn't mind Apollo Crews until he started losing and losing and losing and losing and losing. I forgot that he has a character. What's that character? Nothing. He's just a black dude that flips. And they continue to put him on more TV because he has this weird ass smile. And Vince tolerates black people who have good smiles. That's why Titus O'Neil had so much longevity in the main roster. Bobby Lashley's back. This is why R-Truth is back. I mean, still on having TV time. This is why Leo Rush is having a resurgence. The guy was formerly Cruiserweight champion, and now Apollo Crews is back. But guess what his gimmick is? doing flippy shit and jobbing out. So that's technically it. Chad Gable doesn't even have a character other than we gotta stop Sheamus from bullying, calling me short. And it's such a bitchy, unlikable gimmick that they should immediately turn it heel. Even though, whenever Shorty G's in the ring, he immediately does heelish tendencies. So I don't understand why in the hell are they giving him all this TV time when it's obvious that he's the most unlikable person on the roster since changing his gimmick. It's dumb. And then after that, they had this segment involving Drew Gulak saying about this roundhouse kick. And over all this time, they made Curtis Axel's Curtis Axel's job out to him. Not Kurt Hawkins, Heath Slater, and then he thought Drake Maverick had a shot, but then underestimated him. I forgot that Drake Maverick was on Smackdown until I noticed. I forgot his gimmick when he was with the 24/7 Championship. He had that little feud with Mike Kanellis. He had all that crap with his wife that I thought was fine entertainment, and now he's just there. He's just there. Remember when he was GM for 205 Live, and then he was manager for Office of Pain at the same time until they both got injured? How ain't that a bitch? What's with WWE and trying to give people jobs? Is it that difficult to make a guy keep his fucking job and not involving a storyline? That just agitates the hell out of me as well. The inconsistencies is abundant in most of WWE's way of doing things, even making authority figures, managers, GMs, commentators. What happened to Gio Madden? I don't know what happened. I know he was corny and shit, but at least it showed a change in the roster. And that was Byron Saxton. Again. Just for when the bigger pay-per-views come, at least we know that Corey Graves has enough racial remarks and spiteful remarks for black people. Imagine Booker T playing a foil for Corey Graves. First insult he gives, first fake insult, Booker T for real punches him in the fucking face. I don't give a shit. The commentators suck. Graves and Michael Cole don't work against each other unless like Michael Cole remembers a move where Corey Graves is there to just mark on anything that is Carmella or anything backstage. He has barely anything to bring up on a wrestling match at times unless you see him on pay-per-view. And that's when they're at their best. So whenever they're on the main show, suck a dick. They can't do shit. Then Daniel Bryan appointedly challenged Drew Gulak on the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view because he's acting smart ass and trying to explain him for most of his moves, so challenged him one-on-one. At least this takes some development, or gave Daniel Bryan a reason to be on pay-per-view because they don't have that many matches booked up for the Elimination Chamber that they took a week to do. So, yeah, this weekend's going to be crazy of shitty Elimination Chamber matches that don't tell a story. But Kofi Mania was good because one black guy held the title for like 6-7 months, and that was the same seconds he lost it. So yeah, I'm impressed. WWE can't do shit. Don't try to think this is impressive. Fire and Desire beat Carmella and Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke, I want you to do this backflip and only complete half of it so you can land face plant to your face. And then, thanks to the imbalance of your body, you can snap that bitch, your fucking neck, and die in a hole. Because seeing you wrestle is the worst thing possible. I was lucky that this match was short as it was. Because it just ended off a distraction, a simple little kick, then a bicycle knee out of nowhere from Mandy Rose. And Jesus Christ, it was so crap. Drop kick, a running forearm to the throat. It felt like Dana Brooke was like a 14-year-old practicing how to wrestle. She couldn't even do drop kicks without trying to at least hit the air or the zone of the palm wherever Sonya Deville was about to be connected for. And it just felt like such a crappy match. It ended up with Dolph Ziggler being there showing moral support for Dana Brooke. For Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, even though Otis, when he was ever there, he was kind of the reason why Mandy Rose won the match. Not Sonya Deville. I don't know either. They went either backstage before the Gauntlet match that was the main event, and it ended up with Otis technically not being forgiven. Mandy Rose just said you can't leave the girl stood up like that for long, and that was technically the segment. Kind of a heartbreaking segment. I think they're going to build up more on this because obviously Otis over the past couple of weeks was depressed after the date where he accidentally was running late for the date, but Dolph Ziggler was there. It was kind of sad. Kind of felt bad because I want Otis to get that push. So, it can't work for fat niggas, sadly. I was a bit depressed because Otis been the only reason why I watch SmackDown, to be honest, next to The Fiend. That's technically it. Most of the main roster on SmackDown is minuscule, bare bones, and it doesn't do much things. Most of these assholes are injured, and there's so very little that we forget that they had to put mismatch individuals that don't work against each other quite well or don't have much tag team experience or just aren't good together, and they just put them in. The House Party are somehow still on the main roster. Ziggler and Rude are still a tag team, and the New Day and the Usos just lose via roll up or power slam. There's also the segment involving the Firefly Funhouse, given the reason why the Fiend will face off against John Cena at WrestleMania 36. And this was just spiteful effort to reference 6 years ago when he lost to him at WrestleMania 30. I thought that was a decent callback. I thought they would bring this up. Like what am I anticipating this for SmackDown? Obviously, he's going to reference why he lost. He does this for every storyline involving Daniel Bryan, and he brought up why. You tell me why? Because one time he was part of the Wyatt family. So the time when the bunny was brought back, like, yeah, since that loss at WrestleMania 30, your career kind of fucking sucked. Kind of right about that. So that was technically the segment. Just a spiteful flashback moment to just bring back like the Fiend. We'll be waiting for John Cena at WrestleMania. Decent callback. That's technically it. It's not that much of a hype factor as Randy Orton versus Edge. So yeah, at least they had oh my god moments like oh my god they're doing the Fiend, doing Wyatt and Cena again. Oh my god. Well, at least Cena isn't doing this full time, so partially I think they'll just make him lose like he did at WrestleMania 34. So guess what? Maybe Bray Wyatt will actually get a break. Decent segment though. Next up is the gauntlet match, somehow the most mismatched tag team won. They get an advantage. Probably they go last in the Elimination Chamber match. Other than technically Heavy Machinery holding their own because of the way Otis was after the Mandy Rose incident, and it just ended up with Ziggler and Rude picking up the win because of an out of nowhere super kick after Otis thought he slammed the Robert Roode that was not legal. The match, it was so bland, it was so predictable that we thought, okay, Otis was just going to get his momentum back, win, be successful. Mandy, no, they just did the Ziggler route. There was no need to do a gauntlet match since everybody participated, and I thought the best part of the Elimination Chamber match was literally the unpredictability of who was going to go in. There's no need to do a gauntlet match at the main event. You could have just did an 8-man, 10-man tag, like an 8-man tag, end the show there or something. Do a battle royal. Do something else. Every time it's a gauntlet match. Every fucking night. What happened to beat the clock? That actually shows suspense. Gauntlet matches should be a bit more career threatening or something. Or be a heelish tactic, or be something from an authority figure. The last time it made sense was when Mr. McMahon fooled Kofi Kingston into a gauntlet match. This made no damn sense. To put the tag division in an entire gauntlet match that made no benefits. Other than the final team to enter. For no one to care. Doesn't matter who's gonna come out last. Barely anybody last in the Elimination Chamber wins. I just don't care. Miz Morrison lost via roll up. Just and Kingston and the New Day, they just had a long, pretty good match. Irish Whip into a shoulder tackle. There was one time grab medley. I think it was Lince Dorado missed some kind of kick move, and then Tucker moved out the way with a cartwheel. It was crazy athleticism. It was an entertaining gauntlet match for some, mainly because of the heavy machinery or shockingly athletic. Technically, that's it. Thanks most of these guys held the tag team titles before, and it's goddamn retarded. Why? It's just so dumb. They even did this dumb segment involving Baron Corbin and Elias. Like they're pumped up with a feud. We didn't even call back into why Roman Reigns is challenging Goldberg. They just went into like an instant because obviously they have to give the most charismatic guy no chance at anything at the pay-per-view except a future feud with Baron Corbin. Even though I hate whenever they put the most charismatic guys as a babyface. It builds up at least some crowd reaction, but we all know Elias plays more of a foil as a heel than he does as a babyface, and with such a corniness coming out of Baron Corbin trying to speak reality, even though he looks like he just won a premium membership for a Burger King subscription for something, while sexually assaulting some hooker near a fucking dumpster near the restaurant. It's pretty sad. Corbin just looks like a crack, somebody addicted to crack while jacking off in the bathroom constantly. It's really crap that we still make mediocre shows like this. This has only been 4 or 5 months since airing on Fox, and I haven't seen any episode that enticed me. Why I should be watching SmackDown? What's the difference from watching SmackDown Live to SmackDown on Fox? And it's still the same shit. AEW be doing this crap like bloody guts. The pay-per-views are running fine. They actually have guys that are over SmackDown. They're just shit. I give this a 4 out of 10, like a 4 out of 10. No match was good except probably the gauntlet match. I guess, even though there was no reason for it to exist. The predictability about the Alexa Bliss segment, their way of trying to build up future feuds was crap. The build up for the pay-per-view is crap. Dana Brooke can die in a hole. She doesn't do anything for this roster. I don't even know what makes her like a main roster appeal, other than she's blonde and looks ugly. Oh, just like Charlotte and Lacey. Great. It's just aggravating. Every time watching SmackDown, I have to watch this shit. And you can see why you're bleeding subscribers on the network and why you're bleeding viewerships and relevancy over the past 10 years. So you should think to yourself, WWE, why is there a difference from anything else you guys make? What's the difference to watching SmackDown than there is to Raw? Only difference is a roster. And it sucks. SmackDown sucks. And it's terrible. God damn. Give this a 4 out of 10. Anybody thinks I'm looking back on this episode is just for some reason get roasted. Anything else, you can go kill yourself. Because I don't know why this episode had to exist, because this is just a joke. Complete joke. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of my content, subscribe. Like this video. Dislike this video. Comment. Major priority. Always want to hear what the people want to say about the show or channel or just hear feedback in general. Always like reading your comments. So do that. That's it. Join the DST Nation.